thank NaNA for organizing this event. Um, I'm making this contribution on behalf of our director, Mr. Mendy, who is in the uh, province with our honorable minister. They are inaugurating some facilities in the regions. As I said, it's important the fact that breastfeeding is a human right, not only for food, but I think the newborn, they deserve that right, because food is a fundamental human right. When a child comes into this world, as soon as the child takes in air, the first thing that should be given is food. And naturally, the natural food is breast milk. This is important. And the reason why we've been celebrating this over a year, for so many years, I guess since 1992, the world has been celebrating World Breastfeeding Week. It's an important occasion. The advocacy is we want to tell the whole world, especially the employers, that not only the children to have access to breast milk, but also their mothers should give it that opportunity to give time to their kids to be breastfed. I know there is increased number of women in the workforce. Many people are being employed in formal sector and even some in the non-formal sector. So I think that advocacy is important for employers to understand that women should also be given the opportunity to give time to their kids to breastfeed. I think that's an important message. And we understand the role of the media, because we, in addition to what we are doing at the level of the community, engaging the communities through meetings, the media can spread the message in a wider scope and in a shortest possible time. Because if we will find it difficult to reach everybody at individual level. But with the media, like you, from here, if we spread this message, I think many people will get the information in the shortest possible time. That will not be the end. We will continue with our engagement as another form of strategy. But we will also want you, as you have been doing. I know you've been doing, but we hope you will continue to do, and we are even sure that you will continue to do, to spread this message. It's an important theme for this year, bridging the gap, because we are not yet there. Globally, breastfeeding, we need to do more globally. Gambia has been doing well, but other countries are struggling. But collectively, if we share the information and people are empowered, people have the requisite knowledge, and people implement what we are saying, I think we can go a long way in achieving what our desired goal. Because what we want is every child to be given that opportunity to be given breastfeed, and especially in the first 6 months. That is very important. But breastfeeding, we understand, even in some faith-based religious angle, we know that it's an important thing that should be exercised by every parent. I don't want to dwell much. We have other speakers here, but I just want to welcome, and I want to thank all of you for responding to the call. And from here, we will continue with our effort. And as I said, in the not long distance future, what we want to see is like every child to be fully breastfed. The first 6 months is also important. The exclusive breastfeeding, we also want to see that increase. And even other forms of food, once we start introducing them, we want to have best food for our children, our infants. So on that note, I want to thank all of you once again, and I do hope that from here, the message will be spread to a wider community, to the general population. And I do hope not only the message, but most of us, I would say almost all of us are parents. We can also not only carry the message to the offices, but also at homes. Let's take the message to homes, because we are also parents. So on that note, I want to thank all of you once again, and I want to thank NaNA. We'll continue with our collaboration, with our effort. On that note, I want to thank all of you once again. Thank you.
Is closing the gap, breastfeeding support for all. Containing essential antibodies that protect children against diseases, breast milk is a safe, nutritious, and sustainable source of good nutrition for children. Yet, despite the known benefits, millions of children around the world continue to not be exclusively breastfed in their first 6 months of life, putting them at increased risk of illness, death, reduced learning potential, and health complications into adulthood. The Gambia is among the few countries that have achieved significant progress in exclusive breastfeeding, with 5 out of 10 children exclusively breastfed in the last survey. The country is on course to achieve the 2025 Global Nutrition Target of increasing the rate of exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months up to at least 50%. While this is a significant improvement, many women across the country face barriers such as harmful marketing practices, lack of access to quality healthcare, and weak family-friendly policies when making infant feeding decisions. To build on World Health Assembly target of 50% by 2025 and ultimately the global target of 70% by 2030, these barriers must be addressed. UNICEF is supporting the government of the Gambia to remove these barriers. Today, as we mark as this special occasion, we reconfirm our commitment to support the government and call on government of the Gambia to 1. Ensure investment in breastfeeding by creating national line budgets for breastfeeding to strengthen practices, policies, and programs. 2. Ensure that at-risk mothers and infants, those in underrepresented communities, and those in emergencies receive equitable provision of breastfeeding protection and support to address their unique needs adequately. 3. Enforce the Breastfeeding Promotion Regulation 2006 on marketing of breast milk substitutes with national monitoring mechanism to routinely report code violation, including digital marketing practices. 4. Implement friendly workplace policies as paid maternity leave and breastfeeding breaks, and collect and use data on mothers' experience with employment. This includes creche for communal workplace. And 5. Provide skilled breastfeeding counseling to all mothers as part of routine health coverage, strengthen health facility monitoring of counseling, and integrate counseling questions in nationally representative surveys. Finally, my appreciation goes to the national nutrition agencies for its leadership and commitment in responding to the nutrition concerns of every child, not only in the Gambia but also in the region. My appreciation goes to the Ministry of Health for its effort in integrating nutrition into primary health care and guaranteeing the availability of staff and facilities for the successful execution of nutrition program. My appreciation goes to donors, in particular government of Japan, for their continued support to improve nutritional status of the children in the Gambia. Together, we will continue to work for a Gambia where children not only survive but thrive. Thank you.
The media, the invitees, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying the power of media. I'm going to make a statement because I was warned by my team that I should be making a statement, not a lecture. And there's a reason for that. They know the passion I have for infant and child feeding. In my first degree, I focused on infant and child feeding. So I have a passion for infant and child feeding. When I talk about infant and child feeding, I can talk and talk and talk. So they asked me to make a statement than to make a lecture. And I'm going to abide by that, the team. But the power of media cannot be overemphasized. The whole world very soon will hear or see what the Gambia is doing or plans to do during the course of this month to commemorate World Breastfeeding Week. So we thank all the media houses for coming. This is wonderful. You did not disappoint us. We are expecting a full house, and we have full house. And I'm sure that we will disseminate as widely as possible messages that we will come out of this press conference and other engagement. So on that note, I will read a statement. I made a statement, and today I'm going to try and make a statement. Distinguished invited ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered here to celebrate yet another World Breastfeeding Week, starting with this press conference. As customary, World Breastfeeding Week is celebrated globally every year from August 1st to the 7th in more than 120 countries across the world. But in the Gambia, we celebrate the World Breastfeeding Week throughout the month of August. For the past 6-7 years, we celebrate the whole month of August to mark the week. The World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, WABA, selects a timely theme each year to commemorate World Breastfeeding Week. This year's theme is Closing the Gap, Breastfeeding Support for All. The theme this year focuses on inclusive support and access to breastfeeding resources for every mother and child, with emphasis on survival, health, and well-being. The commemoration of the World Breastfeeding Week will celebrate breastfeeding mothers in all their diversity through their breastfeeding journeys, while showcasing the ways families, society, communities, and health workers can support every breastfeeding mother. It will also showcase the need to improve breastfeeding support to reduce inequalities in our societies, with a special focus on breastfeeding in times of emergency and crisis. The objective of this year's World Breastfeeding Week is in fourfold. One is to inform people about inequalities that exist in breastfeeding support and prevalence. Two, to anchor breastfeeding as an equalizer to close gaps within the society. 3, to engage with individuals and organizations to enhance collaboration and support for breastfeeding. And 4, galvanize actions on reducing inequalities in breastfeeding support by focusing on the vulnerable groups. The National Nutrition Agency, in collaboration with key partners such as the Minister of Health and you, the media, with support from UNICEF, observed World Breastfeeding Week throughout the month of August to highlight how important breastfeeding is to this country and its people. Distinguished invited ladies and gentlemen, the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, the World Health Organization, and UNICEF established the World Breastfeeding Week initiative to promote exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of a child's life. This has many health benefits, including providing vital nutrients, protecting infants from fatal diseases like pneumonia, reducing food insecurity, fostering bonding, love, growth, and development. Every child should be breastfed optimally. And by that we mean initially breastfeeding within the 4th hour of birth, breastfeeding exclusively in the first 6 months of the child's life, followed by continued breastfeeding with appropriate complementary food over 2 years and beyond, regardless of background status. As enshrined in the Convention on the Right of the Child, every child and infant has the right to good nutrition. Thus, reflecting on this year's theme, WHO has reported that undernutrition is associated with 45% of child death globally in 2022. WHO also further revealed that 149 million children under 5 years are estimated to be stunted, meaning they are shorter for their age. 45 million were estimated to be wasted, meaning they are too thin for their height, and 37 million were overweight or obese. This clearly indicates a double burden within this future generation. Underweight on one hand, obesity on the other hand. In the same generation that we are looking out to in the future. The report further states that 44% of infants 0 to 6 months are exclusively breastfed. It is evident that over 820,000 lives could be saved every year among children under 5 if all the children from birth to 2 years were optimally breastfed. It is also evident that breastfeeding improves IQ of people, the school performance of children, and also associated with higher income in adult life because it laid the strong foundation for the human capital. Back in the Gambia, breastfeeding is a deeply real cultural norm where almost every mother breastfeeds their baby. The rate of exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months has steadily increased over the years. According to the DHS, exclusive breastfeeding has increased from 48% in 2013 to 54% in 2019-2020. This has been realized through collaboration between the government, agencies, ministries, departments, and our development partners, such as UNICEF. However, more support is still needed to promote, protect, and support optimal infant and child feeding in order to meet the 60% target set out in our National Nutrition Policy 2021-2025 and the global target of 70% set by the World Health Assembly for 2030. It is gratifying to note that the Gambia has already exceeded the global target for increasing exclusive breastfeeding to 50% by 2025. As highlighted by Bakari, we are already at 54%, but still more is needed to reach the global target. All the stakeholders that have contributed to this achievement are highly commended. The government, through NaNA and partners, are committed to and willing to work with every stakeholder to invest in optimizing infant and child health and nutrition. And together, we will endeavor to continue to maintain and sustain the gains that are already made. Ladies and gentlemen, to provide the platform for optimizing infant and child feeding, the Gambia has developed policies, strategies, and programs to protect, promote, and support breastfeeding. Key among these are the current National Nutrition Policy, with its accompanying multi-sectoral nutrition strategic plan to address current realities by giving us direction and focus as what we need to do and how we do it. The Breastfeeding Promotion Regulation 2006 to regulate the promotion, the sales, marketing, and distribution of infant formula in the country. The implementation of 1991 Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, which gave back to the Baby Friendly Community Initiative to provide the needed support for optimal infant and child health at the grassroots level, and the establishment of high-level stakeholder involvement in promoting optimal infant and child feeding. These are key strategies that we hope, when fully implemented, can achieve the target set in our policy and at the global level. The achievements realized in promoting optimal breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, were further enhanced by the Women's Act 2010, which provide a 6-month paid maternity leave and other equivalent social benefits to working mothers without compromising their employment, the seniority or promotion, or other similar benefits. The government of the Gambia expresses its profound gratitude and appreciation to all the partners for their technical and financial support and collaboration to make this accomplishment possible. Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to embark on our social and behavior communication engagements during the month of August, I am honored to be associated with all the stakeholders and the program that are geared towards promoting, protecting, and supporting exclusive breastfeeding, as it will improve the lives and livelihood of women and children, thus building a strong foundation for our human capital. Without a doubt, breastfeeding is food security and helps to ensure that babies have access to safe and adequate food and nourishment, even during emergencies and crises. During the course of the month of August, the agency and the partners will intensify and diversify the social and behavior communication engagements, which will include a statement by His Excellency the Vice President that was read yesterday and relayed on the GRTS. This press conference to inform the general public about the importance of exclusive breastfeeding and to subscribe to the establishment and maintenance of breastfeeding-friendly workplaces, corners, and creches. Engagement with institutions to collect human interest stories, to showcase experiences and perspectives of parents, employers, and employees on the impact of paid maternity leave through audiovisuals. Organizing seminars and lectures in order to improve and expand the scope of breastfeeding knowledge. Engagement of community structures to promote and facilitate the practice of exclusive breastfeeding, and soliciting commitment from institutions, both public and private, beginning with the agency itself, to establish a breastfeeding-friendly workplace and environment. Let me reiterate that in difficult circumstances, families and children require attention and practical support. In such situations, mothers and infants should remain together whenever feasible and practically possible to receive the assistance they require to practice the most appropriate feeding option, which is breastfeeding. In almost all difficult situations, breastfeeding is still the recommended method of feeding infants adequately. To reduce breastfeeding inequalities, no one must be left behind, especially women who are most vulnerable and may require additional support. I would like to encourage every parent, guardian, employer or employee to pay special attention to the important assistance messages that will be shared during this celebration in order to benefit our future, our children, the future of our nation and society. I also appeal to all institutions, be it private or public, to strive towards creating a work environment that is friendly and accommodating, particularly to employees who are breastfeeding. Let us remember that breastfeeding is not a choice, it is a responsibility. Breastfeeding is a community effort. Families, friends, peers, neighbors, health workers all of them provide a very vital role. Breastfeeding offers not only improved health of the mother and the child, but also economic and environmental benefits to the community and the society. Breastfeeding does not waste scarce resources or create pollution. It instead preserves nature and environment. Breastfeeding is a naturally renewable resources that require no packaging, no shipment, or disposal. Every mother deserves access to supporting breastfeeding culture, society, and environment. Therefore, share, inform, educate, and communicate as widely as possible so no one is left behind. Thank you for your kind attention.
And other technicians. Now, these messages will be used during our engagements with the media. They can also be used via SMS and other social media platforms. And we believe they can answer some of the knowledge gaps that we anticipate to see. Secondly, we had the press briefing, and I will not go into that because Malang, I think, dwelled intensively around that. We hope that the message gathered here will definitely be shared. This is not just for you to share the message, but let the people know. Create the noise, as my boss will say it. Let people be aware that we are commemorating World Breastfeeding Week. And in fact, in the Gambia, call it the World Breastfeeding Month. There was a question around advocacy. Yes, we will be doing a lot of advocacy, and you might want to ask, what are we advocating on? Yes, the advocacy will focus on making the workplace not mother and child, but parent-friendly workplace. Parent-friendly workplace in the sense that some of the challenges that we are experiencing are definitely related to the team. And the team is what? Closing the gap. We want to endeavor and see how we close this gap. How do we close the gap? Is by supporting through breastfeeding. Breastfeeding support for all. Now, we want to meet institutions, and we have identified institutions to meet. You talked about issues that teachers face. We will be meeting the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Because in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education is a policy. It's a law that you cannot take the child to the classroom. So until or unless that law is addressed, mothers who are teachers or students will find it challenging to take these children into the classroom. So the workplace is not friendly then for the teacher or for a student mother. We will also be engaging the Ministry of Higher and secondary education with similar to what I have explained with MOPS. We will also be meeting the National Assembly. I think the National Assembly, they don't make laws, but they approve the laws, if I get it right. So, they make laws. Okay. So in this case, let's say, for example, if the MOPS revise the policy and take it to National Assembly, we want their political support, their buy-in, so that they can support, yes, at the school level, maybe create a room, create a corner, create a space, so that this corner, space, or room can be used by people who have children or students who come. In their law, they have what they call second chance for people who are dropouts and want to come back to school. Probably they were dropouts because they have a child. So we will be engaging the National Assembly with a lot of advocacies. But you talked about issues with the private sector. It's twofold. It's either they don't know or the law is not enforced. So we want to engage the private sector so that they know first. And when they know, we commit them in supporting. If the private sector, who also employs a lot of women, are able to create a workplace that makes it very friendly, then we might not be encountering these problems. But we are not leaving the government ministry. NaNA, for example, Ministry of Gender, and NaNA already have a space. So it's a matter of working on the space and getting it was established, re-establish it again. So these advocacies we will be doing. But we are not leaving the rural people. So we will be doing a lot of community engagement. Malan mentioned why we are engaging them. For example, we are not forgetting those women farmers. We are not forgetting those farmers in the provinces, those who have gardens, those who go to the rice fields. They might want to take along their babies. The problem when you have to be separated from your baby. Even though from the nutrition point of view, you should be able to express your breast milk and keep it under room temperature for 8 hours. But if this is a challenge, we will encourage them to go with their children to the fields where they work. So on those fields, we are trying to engage them and make them commit so that charity begins at home. They can do something and have a waiting shed or call it a rest house. During our last year's engagement with them, it was very apparent that this rest house goes beyond helping them to bring their children, but it even protects them from harsh weathers. During rains, they shelter in those rest houses. When the sun is very hot, they also shelter in those rest houses. So we see a lot of benefits with these rest houses. So we will be also doing a lot of educational promotion or educational forums, seminars. We will be targeting institutions and we will be engaging them, and not like in a form of press briefing, but in the form of more detailed discussion around the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding. We are not going to have a lot, but we thank UNICEF for supporting all these activities. And we also thank them for supporting us in the printing of promotional materials. This year we will be having some promotional materials. They are not many, but we can start from some, and then gradually we will increase. And these promotional materials, we believe, those that we cannot reach or some of the people we are reaching, we will give them these promotional materials that will bear the key messages, that will bear the logos and the other information that we want to disseminate. So I want to appeal to the chair and others on the high table. We have other technical officers around who worked behind the scene personally, and on behalf of the executive director and other team, I want to thank them. There's a lot of work that they are doing to make sure that these activities happen and to make sure that it is done very well. And equally, they can respond to most of these questions that are asked, and I believe we can also avail them the opportunity when questions are asked so that they can equally respond. Thank you.
Thank you.